World.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for a special news bulletin from TWSTDWRLD.
What is up, Twisted World fam? We are back with my boys, as always, Cody and Andy.
Yo.
What it is.
So, a lot of great shows out right now. My wife, who her standard bedtime is like right after the sun goes down. That's a little later than that, like 8:30. She's been like, thanks to Andy's wife, she's been watching some shows and she's been staying up way past her bedtime. Like, I go in
Like 10?
like 1 o'clock in the morning, like crazy style. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And she's just like, this show is so good.
Are you sleeping at this time or are you also doing something?
Well, I mean, I work at night and then, maybe game a little bit. So I don't generally go to bed at 8:30 or anywhere near there. I'm used to her going to bed and good night and all that stuff. And then it's like, now she's up. I'm like, you're not much better.
Is she a morning person? Because I know she goes to bed early, but is she a morning person?
Yeah,
Like she gets up early and
she just get up early. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's not me. I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
Like it's not unheard of for me to stay up midnight, 1 o'clock.
And I get it. Like the thing is binging shows, right? I mean, there's so many good shows that come out from all the different channels, Netflix and Amazon and Paramount.
You've been texting me all week, right? Like you're like, hey, have you watched Halo? I was like, no. Have you watched Moon Knight? I was like, no. Yeah. I've got other things to watch. There's so much on TV right now.
There's so much. What's something that's binge worthy, Cody? What do you binge anything?
The only things I really have binged, like Breaking Bad, like a great show.
How many seasons? I've never.
I believe there were 8, right? Maybe there wasn't that many.
I think it's 6.
I think it's 6, and then there's the movie.
Oh yeah, dude. No, I watched it in like a week.
Okay, so fun story there is we were in the hospital with Kennedy, about to have she's about to be born.
Yeah,
I binge watched like I think I finished that season.
Wow,
while we were there, like or that show. I took a big chunk out of it while we were in the hospital. A lot.
Well,
yeah.
I know you see social media and people are always like, hey, I need a new show. I need to watch something. Like a bunch of drug addicts out here. I'm just saying, it's like,
for years
I put it down.
For years, I paid $200 for cable and I watched like 3 things, before there were DVR, and then you had DVR and you were able to watch a little bit more, but I paid so much money for cable. So I canceled cable and I was like, I'm going to do streaming, right?
Yeah.
When Netflix first came out, like it was trash.
Right.
It was trash.
Well, wasn't it a video game? I mean, not a video game, like a movie rental thing first, right? It was like.
It was. So at Best Buy, at the time I worked there, they had little DVD thing. Kind of like when you had AOL all those years ago, they had the free AOL disc.
Yeah.
Well, when you would check out, they had the same thing. Netflix was like this little, it was a ticket. And on the ticket, it was like, you could basically rent movies like GameFly and they would send movies to your house.
Yeah.
They split that company into 2 parts and they started doing the online service. And so at that point, it switched out and then they sold off the rights to, I don't know, they sold off the rights to the DVD part and kept the online stream part. But yeah. And I think when it first came out, it was like $4 a month.
Yeah.
I had it for like 6 or 8 months and I was like, this is garbage. And I got rid of it. And then once we canceled cable for real and moved to Vacaville, I got it again. And it's been better since. But now, the other day I'm going through my bank logs and I'm like looking, and I've got like 3 or 4 streaming services and I'm paying $60 or $70 again. And I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. This is crazy.
Every time you turn around, they're like, we're going to up it $1. And you're like,
I'm paying $20. I'm paying $20 a month for Netflix.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're like, no big deal. It's $1. And when they do it like 10 times in a year, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
They do release a lot of good shows. But let me tell you, if you're watching a show and that thing pops up saying, hey, are you still watching? You've probably been binging for too long. I'm just throwing that out there. If you press the button, you're like, hey, don't remind me again.
That means you're not skipping
you're
intros.
Ignoring the problem.
If you're seeing
recognize the problem.
If you're seeing that message, you're not skipping intros.
Yeah.
You're not using the remote frequently enough.
You're just letting it roll. My wife, she was watching the one show and she's like, man, they play this opener and it's annoying and it's like
so loud.
It's so yeah.
Talking about Last Kingdom.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning of that opener, it's like a scream.
Yeah.
That's like a chant. Yeah. And, you'll be watching it at night. My kids are all asleep. I've got, the door open and I've got it on like 10 or 12 on my TV and it's loud, right? That thing comes on and I swear to God, it's waking everybody up in the house. And so I try to skip it as fast as I possibly can because it's so obnoxious.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen the entire open because of it.
Right. But, there's a there's a lot of good shows, and they put a lot of money in this. I think COVID affected a lot, right? I mean, there was a lot of shows that were postponed, and
Yeah.
you know,
Stranger Things.
and which is funny because we're all on lockdown, right? Yeah, like Stranger Things, right? So we're all on lockdown, and we got no new content. So you know, it
What do you do when you have no content?
play video games.
You don't watch the Oscars.
No, well, yes, but we're gonna get into that because our buddy Will Smith, you know, decided to light up the ratings, whether real or fake.
I don't know if you call it light up the ratings, but we'll get into those in a little bit too.
Oh yeah, where I've got some rating statistics, but yeah. So I mean, today that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about like there's a lot of conspiracy theory currently, and that this thing was 100% staged, that the ratings of the Oscars have plummeted over the last 5-6 years, and this was like the biggest thing that has happened to the Oscars. And I mean, one person wrote a publication that said biggest thing that's happened to the Oscars in the last 40 years. So I mean, it's getting there's more. The amount of memes that came out within less than an hour of this event, it was crazy. Like the Oscars weren't even over, and there was probably 1,000 memes running around. It was great. It was good stuff. I was expecting Cody somewhere to jump in and create one.
Oh, there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
I just was overwhelmed with how many there were. I felt like, and there's not even a point in making one right now.
Yeah.
They're all saturated. The whole internet.
Have
Of just
any
Will
of you-
Smith hitting someone.
Have you any of you actually? So it's the Batman Robin meme, like now in real life. So like
Yeah.
if you were using the Batman Robin meme, where like Batman in the cartoon slaps Robin, like
Right.
that meme was used. You don't use
Tons.
that anymore. This is the one you
Yeah,
use
yeah.
now. And so, has any of you have you actually used it? Have you gone in there and edited it and done your own?
No.
Okay, so I have already. Right, I was trying to get a hold of my dad called
Of
me on
course.
Thursday, and I was trying to get a hold of him. I called him like 4 times over 4 days, and finally, I just decided to text him. So I took that meme and I put my dad and me trying to get a hold of him, and on the slap was his voicemail. Right, and he called me back right away. So it was effective. It worked. But yeah, it's just insane. I've already used it.
The power of the meme.
Mm.
It's good stuff. So for those of you listening that don't know, and if you don't know, I'm not sure what rock you live under because it's almost impossible not to know. I was out in Pennsylvania. I lost my grandmother recently, just this last week, and it was crazy. Like all these family, elder people, and I'm gonna tell you, everybody knew about it. Like I made a couple jokes, like, "Hey, don't make me slap you," like like you're Chris Rock, and everybody was like, "Hey, that was crazy, right?" And I'm like, "You know
Well,
about?"
Think
Like-
about it. Think about it. We were doing a game night. We're playing Magic. There's like 8 or 9 of us there. None of us are watching TV.
Right.
I don't watch the Oscars. I watched the
I
Oscars
did.
when I was a kid. So when I was a
haven't watched
kid,
it yeah,
when I was a
15, 20
kid
years.
20 years ago, my mom liked to watch it, so we would all watch it together and whatever. Well, nowadays I'm like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
To me, it's trash. It's like I'm not gonna watch this. This is stupid. But we were playing the game, and my wife texted me and said, "Did you see this?" Or my mom texted me and said, "This just happened." I went, "No." So I Googled it, right, and that's how we found out about it. So yeah, I mean, it just spread like wildfire. I started getting text messages from everyone, family everywhere. Like, "Did you see what happened?" And I was like, "No." And then I started analyzing.
Well, yeah, and you have to, because some of the craziest things. I mean, if those of you who don't know, Chris Rock, I guess he was presenting Best Documentary, is my understanding. He came out to present award for Best Documentary. And so the one thing you got to understand is Chris Rock has been a stand-up comedian since 1984, right? He's been a stand-up comedian. Stand-up comedians take jabs. They always have. It's always known. Like if you go to a comedy show and you sit in the front row, and if you're like me, a larger white guy, you're going to get clowned. It's
Right.
just reality, right? They're going to take jabs because that's what they do. They're stand-up comedians. You don't go to a stand-up comedy show, going, "Oh, they're going to be nice." Like you expect it, right? And so Chris Rock, he comes out, he does his thing, and something about like he says like, "Jada, I loved you in G.I. Jane 2," right?
Or
And-
can't know. He said,
Love
J-
G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane 2. Can't wait to see it.
"Can't wait
Oh,
to
yeah.
see it." Yeah.
like as if she's starring in it because her head was shaved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, the actress in the movie.
Well, in the first one, yeah.
Yeah,
Demi,
yeah.
Demi Moore's head was shaved
Yeah,
in G.I. Jane 1.
Right.
And so he kind of segues to Jada as if she's playing the main character in a G.I. Jane 2, which there is no G.I. Jane 2. But, again, he's just taking jabs.
But she could be the stunt. If
She
she wanted
could.
to be.
Yeah.
That position's open.
Because so she shows up to the Oscars, her head shaved, and he takes an open shot. Probably thinking it was fine. you know, again, stand-up comedian, they take. I don't know if you guys ever watching these roasts, like when they roast.
Roasts are different, but yes,
roasts are different. No, they're like 100% targeting.
You intentionally go and knowing you're going to get.
I get it, but it's always the stand-up comedians that do the best job, right?
So, they're question. Was it planned, or was it like he just made a joke up on the spot?
I don't know.
I think it was planned.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more to it as far as like I'm not talking about theories here. This is just like she had just done a whole video on the internet about her hair and why she shaved it. That whole thing. So I think, and she said she didn't care.
Well, let's
what
talk
people
about
thought about
let's
it.
talk about the hair for a minute. I guess it's, and I don't want to butcher this disease or condition. It's alopecia.
Alopecia.
Is that correct?
Yep.
And my understanding is it's something to do with like spotting and growth of hair, right?
Yeah. So rather than balding in a general spot like the back or the front, like you would see on male pattern baldness, it's spotty. So it can happen kind of anywhere. Kind of be random, but it's usually a condition that causes hair not to grow in a certain.
So I guess my question though is somebody pointed out, thank God for the internet, a few people pointed out, and they with pictures of Jada, and they show her head like in different shots of her coming into the Oscars and throughout the thing, and it doesn't appear like she's got missing hair anywhere. I'm not saying she doesn't have this, but I guess that was the thing, was like, so their stance is, even if you have this, you don't necessarily show signs of it. Why is it something like you like if you have cancer and that you're battling it to the end and things.
Well,
of that
keeping
nature.
her hair short makes it less noticeable. So mind you, it functions similar in balding. It's that the hair in that area doesn't grow at the same rate, or it doesn't grow past a certain length. So if her hair's longer, like it was in past, you would notice a spot where her scalp is showing a lot more because it doesn't grow thick.
Listen, I mean, my hair, I'm balding, and Cody could clown it because he's got a nice, beautiful head of hair. It's not like I'm going to walk up and slap. It's not like I'm going to walk up and slap the brakes out of him. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, men, our hair balds. We thin out. A lot of us.
Well, we still make jokes.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine gets clowned regularly by my kids, everything. Like, the youngest one. Yeah, why are you missing hair here?
Who are the people that get jokes made about them the most?
Is this a statistic or is this like
just in like if I'm just asking you, like the people that usually get targeted of jokes, not bullying, people that get targeted of jokes.
Fat white guys.
Well, I'm not talking about people specifically as far as what they look like. Oh. I'm talking about people that have either a confidence thing or they say things like, jokes don't bother me.
Yeah.
Jada did a video like 2 weeks ago where she talked about her bald head and she says, I don't give a F about what people say about my hair.
Oh.
Right? So that means, so apparently she does.
Chris Rock figured it was all right then.
Yeah, apparently.
She must be okay with it.
She must be okay with it. So that's what made me think that it's planned is he looked at it and went, okay, this will be a funny joke. It'll land. And it's not really that fun of a joke. Like kind of light, kind of weak.
It was.
Like to get mad about that, I'm like, okay. I mean, he could have made so many more bald jokes that would have been better.
I mean, I think to take it to,
Well, the thing is you can get upset about a joke, and I think that's what Jada did. But Jada's not the one who walked up and smacked Chris Rock across the face, right?
No. Did you watch when the joke was said? No. Okay, that dude's okay. We'll get into that. But when the joke, this is where we start breaking it down. This is where I was like, we should do a video because you sent that picture where it talks about all his posture, right? During the slap. But if you watch the clip back really slow, you notice that when the joke is said, Will is laughing.
He's laughing, right?
He is laughing.
Yep.
And he turns and looks at Jada, who is pissed. Right? Now, mind you, weak joke. You 2 weeks ago just said you don't care what people say about your hair.
Yeah.
And he really didn't. I mean, it is a joke about her hair, but he really didn't like point out her disease.
No.
He just talked about her shaved head.
That's it.
And she looks great.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. She doesn't look like she's got a disease. She looks great. Right?
So Jada?
I honestly didn't know.
I would have never. Yeah.
Didn't know she had something going on.
Yeah, but she's very stylish.
Right.
Very hip, very chic.
Like she pulls it off.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's like
people took jabs at Sinead back when she did it, and Sinead laughed it off.
She could have laughed and just been, like whatever. Okay. Yeah. So mind you, there's the video before where she talks about she doesn't give a crap what people think about her hair or say about her hair. Right. Yeah. There's that. So he takes a jab just to take a jab. Like just a comedian.
As a comedian does.
You posted something and put it out there in the world. So now I'm going to put something out there in the world.
Like I said, Will thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Because he's looking, you know what? You're still hot. You're still everything. You're still Jada Pinkett Smith. He sees his wife, but then he sees her, right?
Yeah. So he sees her get mad. And then that's when he does the storming up onto the stage thing. There's so much about all of that where I was like talking to my dad. I was like, I don't know, Dad. I'm not completely sold on it being like legit. And he goes, oh, it's real. I said, well, what made it real for you? He goes, the reaction of Chris Rock after.
Yeah.
That's what made it real for me.
Well, and a lot of people leaning on the fact that it's real because a lot of people are pointing out is that there's a lot of issues in their marriage, right? I mean, there's supposedly...
She broadcasted it on her Red Table podcast.
Yeah, did she?
Yep. She broadcasted that she cheated on him.
Oh, I missed that.
This was recent.
That's why it was a speculation that she cheated.
She got into an entangle.
So, by the way, they have an open relationship.
Get a definition of that.
Hey, you ask her, bro.
Is that
reason-
entanglement like legs wrapping?
Oh,
Yeah.
it was entangled.
The main
all right.
reason she says it that way is because they have an open relationship, which means that they're allowed to. By calling it an entanglement, it means it went a little bit more emotional. It went a little bit further. That she allowed herself to get caught in his web.
So Jada and Will are swingers. Is that what we're...
Essentially, that's how it's been
Oh.
played. Now, I don't know if that's to be certain, but that's what Jada
Jada's a
has
swinger.
said.
Jada's a swinger.
We don't know that Will
But
is.
that's what Jada said. That's what she said. We have an open relationship, this and that. And honestly, on broadcasted on national television, she basically comes out and says she had an affair. And then that's who the guy was. Not only did have an affair, but
What?
that's who it was,
How did
right?
I miss that?
Oh yeah, this
Uh,
was news like 2 years ago or something.
It's been a while.
It's-
She's had Red Table
I don't know.
It's a
podcast
little
for a while,
while.
but yeah, I'm not really sure. Again, before what happened, I could care less.
So, and the reality is even if it's like with anybody, if anybody stops and puts themselves in their shoes and they're like, hey, I'm married, we've quote unquote agreed to a open relationship. It's super weird to me, but people do it, I guess. The problem is there's always going to be someone who get hurt in that scenario, right? And it's like, so she comes out and it probably messed him up. And then, so now they've got this issue within their relationship. And so he laughs at the joke. And honestly, a lot of people point out that the only reason that she reacted the way she did was because he laughed. So you see him laugh and then she makes that face. Like, oh, that's not funny.
She was turning and already upset, kind of sitting there when he's laughing. I think it's more, okay, I heard someone say it, and I think it's a terrible joke, but someone said that, and one of the things that she justifies why she did what she did with the other man is that she didn't feel like he was attentive enough to her and this and that. Like, sounds a little less than an open relationship. Sounds more like, oh, I went and cheated on you because you weren't there for me, right?
Yeah.
And so someone made the joke that
you
the
ain't
look,
tangling me.
oh God. One of the reasons that she looked at him is that in her mind with her eyes, she's saying, see, this is why.
Yeah.
And so he reacted in a sense like, oh, okay, so this is what you want. And he went up there and slapped the guy. I don't know, man. It's just like, it felt really weird. If you watch the video back, it's almost as if when he slaps Chris, he's laughing.
Will is laughing when he
Go
slaps
back,
him?
go back and watch it. He hits him, and in his face, it looks like he's laughing as he's doing it. Now, there's no shots of the front of his face, but he looks to be grinning or smiling when he does it.
Do you guys know that in just kind of, bringing Chris Rock up and a little bit more of their past, in 2016, he hosted the Academy Awards and he actually targeted both of them.
Yeah,
and it was all good. There wasn't any, like, everything I could see there, like, there wasn't any, like, true backlash. Nothing like this.
Didn't they boycott or something?
Well, they were already boycotting. Yeah. So or she did. That she was boycotting the ceremony because of Chris says that she was doing it because of a lack of diversity. And he was quoted, I guess, as saying, Jada said she's not coming on a protest. And isn't she on a TV show? Like you're already out there. You're already putting yourself out. And so now you're protesting a TV show for whatever reason, but yet you're on you're out here on a TV show making money, but then you want to protest this TV show. And so basically doesn't really make sense. But then he targeted Will, saying, if it's not fair that Will was this good and didn't get nominated, you're right. It's also not fair that Will was paid $20 million for Wild Wild West, which was one of his poorest movies, right? So he took jabs at both Jada and Will in that show.
He's a comedian.
He's a comedian.
Here,
and that's how it was seen. Nobody took any. It wasn't like nobody came up on stage and whooped him up that point.
Part of this, one of the things that night we were talking about this is when I was doing the research and I was looking at it, she was offended by the things that were said in 2016. And so I thought that was kind of the reason why she was just instantly mad, because there was former beef. Like, she had frustrations with him before because he targeted her before, right? I don't know. Again, was taking a step back to that night. Will Smith is a comedian. Now, he's made some really great serious movies and dramatic movies, but dude's a comedian. He started his career as a comedian.
Right.
So this kind of language and this kind of like dialogue, and I mean, he's still funny. It shouldn't be a surprise. So it just, all of it just seems so weird. Now, I know we're going to go into some more stuff. Did you see the TikTok that came out from Will Smith right before the Oscars?
Will Smith's TikTok? No.
Mm-hmm.
Right before the Oscars?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So this is where a lot of the conspiracy theories have kind of started, right? Right before the Oscars, they post a video, and I need to pull it up so I can quote it, but basically it talks about
you
you have that in there?
Well, I think I did see something about that. I saw a tweet where they're like, he tweeted and saying something along the lines of getting dressed up to choose the chaos. And then a little before the incident took place, he replies to his own tweet saying, you can't invite people from Philly or Baltimore anymore, in reference to her and him as like they're going to go wreak havoc, right? So he posts that, like, hey, getting dressed up to choose chaos. And then you just can't invite people from Philly or Baltimore anymore because she's from Baltimore, he's from Philly. And so they basically showing, some people see that they're getting ready to go antagonize something. They're getting ready to go cause some chaos, as they put it. Yeah.
So that's what it says. It's me and Jadapinkett Smith got all dressed up to choose chaos. And it's basically this. And then they do a little thing where they're basically like going back and forth like they're going to cause problems.
Yeah.
Right? This was like an hour or two before the event.
Right.
And so
like,
you've already got
what
this
chaos you guys going on to ensue there? I'm just curious. You guys going to wreak some havoc?
What else did they do during the ceremony besides him slapping her? I don't think they really did anything, right?
No.
Yeah, like
what
else would they be?
What kind of trouble do they cause?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing.
Just like,
would you have even known anything about the Oscars if what happened didn't happen? Would you have even cared or even looked to care that he won Best Actor for Richard? Have you ever seen the movie Richard?
No, nor have I heard of it before.
Or King Richard, sorry.
Yeah, it's about the tennis,
okay.
What's their name? The twins.
All right.
Tennis players.
But you know what Chris Rock said, how he said it, what Will did, how he got up there and he slapped him, and then what Chris Rock said afterwards. All of that happened spur of the moment.
Yeah, well,
like
since we're kind of on this point, let's talk about years ratings. Yeah, when I did a running average of 2002 to 2010, there's a running average of 40.53 million viewers. Okay, from 2011 to 2019, an average of 35.64. It dipped off. The average over the last 3 years was 16.43. With last year being as low as 10.4 million,
which was a record low. It was the lowest that ever been.
Yeah. So if you look at the viewing charts, I mean, it was bad. People are not watching the Oscars, and it's been slowly declining. You can see the decline since like 2018. It's just kind of, and then it just dipped. And so again, a lot like Cody, most people know there's a lot of people that never even watch the Oscars, but is it reality now that it very well could have sparked and has created a whole nother genre of individuals that are going to be like, oh, next year I'm tuning in. What's going to be next?
Did you look at the numbers from this week or from the last week when it went?
No, what did it jump
to?
So
post that slap, it jumped.
To what?
Almost 20 million.
Yeah, see? It's like...
Right? So post slap. Before slap, it was under... they were going to have their record low.
20 years ago, people knew when the Oscars were coming on. They knew the week. They were like, yeah, this is like Andy talked about watching with the family. We were very much similar. People watched the Oscars and it's been fading, right? It's just not something people are watching anymore. Well, this has invigorated their viewership. It has. So that's just another piece of evidence that would suggest it's quite possible that this was rigged, that this was staged. As Andy put, I think a lot of people are on the posture of Chris Rock, like how he was standing, how like he was prepared for this slap.
If a man is coming at me, and let's assume he's looking angry, we can't see his face. This is part of my other argument. If a man's angry and he's coming at me, and Will Smith is twice the size of Chris Rock, I'm backing up.
Right,
my hands are in front of me because I want to defend myself if something goes down. Right, he didn't know that Will was coming in with a slap. Will could have come in with a fist. Right. If you watch it back and even look at the picture, it's like he has his hands behind his back. He's leaning in and he's closing his eyes.
Yeah. He's prepared to take it.
He's prepared to take it.
Yep.
So,
like when you're young and you're like, we're gonna slap box. I'm gonna slap you first and then you slap me, They got them like arm wrestling things now. You seen that? where it's like not arm wrestling, where they slap each other.
Oh, the slap fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it used to be slap bets. Now it's slap fights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they hold the thing and they slap each other and they have to take it.
And these big dudes are like just smashing on each other's faces. It's crazy.
But I'm okay. So if you've made a joke about someone's wife,
yeah,
and mind you, we can talk about it, I guess, for a second. Like Chris Rock was on The View last week, and he mentioned that he was diagnosed a couple of years ago with, and I can't. Did you write it down?
NVLD,
right.
Nonverbal learning disorder,
right? Which basically, in layman's terms, because that's how he put it, was that he has a problem with social cues when people are angry or sad or frustrated. He can't tell, right? I think it's convenient that came out and
it came out afterwards, right?
Came out afterwards last Thursday, right? After this is a week after it. He says this, right? But during the event, he's telling his joke. He's getting ready to move on. When Will Smith gets up to walk, he goes, "Oh no!" So he read the social cue. He knew exactly what was going on. He can't argue away that he didn't know what was going to happen because he didn't understand. He understood something was going on. Now he's trying to joke it away, going, "Oh no, he's coming." When you're sitting there, was he expecting him to walk up and take the mic? Because he put the mic behind his back.
Yeah.
Like, what was he expecting him to do?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if Cody, if you're on a stage and a man twice your size, after you just made a joke about his wife, is coming towards you, how would you react?
Well, so the way I look at it is like they're both, actors, right? So this is something he could be improving. I mean, like, I'm not expecting someone to come up and hit me, definitely. So I mean,
but wouldn't you know?
When I know,
if we're assuming improv or you're assuming something like that, you're assuming that he's going to come up and kind of join in on the joke or say a joke about Chris. Like why say oh no? Like I mean, like so that's his posture. Even in that, his posture doesn't match what you're saying. Is he's going to come and join the joke?
Well, what I'm saying is like when he says uh oh, I mean like that means you just made a joke about his wife. He's obviously getting up. I mean you can obviously see that's you could say uh oh. I mean I don't know.
Okay, but cross his arms, put it behind his back, lean in, and close his eyes before the swing.
I mean, I don't know about all that. I don't know, like, I don't know. Oh, do you know he leaned in? I don't know.
You can watch the video. He leans in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The whole thing.
Other people, including the host, because he was not the host, but including the host said, we're not really sure, but with the amount of rules and regulations of the Oscars, like what people can say, what they can't say, and all of that, Will should have been carried out immediately post that slap, regardless of what Chris Rock said.
Anyone else would have been.
Yeah.
Now we talk about the difference between normal people and celebrities, right?
But they're referencing celebrities. Like if another celebrity had done something similar,
he should
or
have
said something wrong, they will get pulled out of they'll go to commercial break.
So apparently they said they tried to get him to leave, and he said no. And I'm like, then you call the police.
Yeah.
But apparently they said they asked him to leave, and he said no because he was up for an award, right?
Yeah.
To which he won.
Yeah. Like how convenient.
Well, if you wanted someone to watch for the award, that's one way,
right? So again, I mean, there's just a lot of strange things behind it. Supposedly he's giving up. He's like.
He resigned.
What does that mean?
So I guess the Academies is a membership. And so I don't really, there was like, I was reading a little blurb on kind of what it gets you, but you get to go access to parties and get access to special events for movies and whatnot and be a part of the ceremony for the Oscars, right? So he resigned as a result and said that he was horrified.
Well, speaking of party, he got to go to one of the Oscar after parties.
Well, yeah, that's before he resigned.
Well, right. But what I'm saying yet again is he now left the Oscars where he could have been, that's an assault and battery at the end of the day. Anybody else would have gotten arrested regardless of charges being pressed or not.
Correct.
Because, I mean, if you look at like the court systems can choose to file charges.
The DA could if you wanted to. They're not going to, but they could.
No, it's not going to happen.
The reality is if there's regular people in the audience at the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
There's people on TikTok that were videotaping the whole thing going, this is the craziest night ever. And I agree for them that probably was. That's awesome to be a part of that and kind of see it. It's kind of like, oh, this is something that we didn't know if it wasn't staged. But to have him go up and let's imagine it's a part of a bit, I get it. But the moment he got off the stage and it wasn't on camera, like he should have been taken. You get arrested.
Yeah.
Even if someone doesn't press charges, they release you. But it still happens, right? You still have to be escorted, right?
I'm
anyone
saying.
else would have happened.
If I'm at the drive-thru and they mess up my order and I slap the girl in the thing or the guy in the thing, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm getting arrested. Like, even if they're like, oh, I don't want to press charges, I messed up his meal. Like, you're still getting arrested, no matter what. But no, there's no arrest made.
Like,
no,
you get
no
detained.
charges made.
Yes, you get detained.
Yeah,
and no charges are made. No
Right.
charges are brought against you. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of those things, but that to me doesn't surprise me because that's the world we live in. I think celebrities get away with these types of things all the time, right? Because they add some kind of value that I'm a little unsure of.
So here's the question: if somebody makes fun of our wives and we slap the person, do we get to get away with it?
Would I want to?
Would you want to what?
So I had this question the other day. Somebody, I think it was, well, honestly, I'm a man of integrity, right? So one of the girls was like, I mean, Dad, we live in this crazy world and you're always talking about, being careful. And I tell them not to talk to strangers, right? Don't go out by yourself, don't talk to strangers. What if someone took us? I said, that person would die. And they go, Dad, you would go to prison. I said, yes, I would. Well, and Kennedy goes, if the cops caught you. And I said, I would call them. And she goes, why would you do that? I said, because I committed a crime.
Yeah.
But that person would die as a result. And the reality is that I don't care how emotional you are. If he walks up and he slaps that dude, he has to deal with the consequences of that.
Yeah.
He should have been, in my opinion, should have been arrested. Even if Chris Rock doesn't want to press charges, because if it were me, did you guys watch the Jim Carrey clip?
No.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's clip was fantastic. He said he's a man and he committed a crime. And not only that, it's on national television and will live on forever because now it memes, it will live on forever. He goes, had Will Smith slapped me in the face, I would have woke up the next morning and sued him for $200 million because that's defamation of my character.
Yeah.
And he goes, Chris Rock is the bigger man in that situation because he did not retaliate. He didn't say anything and he took it.
The funny thing is his show, Chris Rock's stand-up big show that he did, I think it was Detroit.
Yeah, it was like 3 days later.
Yeah, and it sold out.
Well, it was already sold out. He talks about this at the open of that show. He goes, listen, I'm still processing and none of my jokes tonight will have this in there, but it will in the future. So look out for that. Right. But he said, I'm still processing what happened. So if you came here tonight expecting those types of jokes, it's not going to happen. So like, again, if this is something that happened kind of because of an emotional drive or whatever's going on in Will Smith's life, I mean, it sucks, but at the same time, Chris Rock's a baller. I think he handled it like a man.
Yeah. No,
I'll tell you, I love both of you. You slap me in the face, you're going down.
Yeah. Right.
I'll tackle you. I don't care twice my size. I don't care if I lose the fight.
But that's
I
what
ain't
I'm
no
saying.
punk.
I just say in today's world now, we're basically showing that it's okay to do what Will Smith did. If this is 100% real, not staged, Will Smith got upset because of a soft joke. I mean, let's be real.
It's soft. Yeah.
It was soft. And soft joke happens. Your wife's upset. You walk up and slap a grown man in front of millions of people. Like you and nobody does anything about it. What at this point are you saying to everybody else?
Imagining it's real. I've got a take on this, and I was saying it that night when we were playing, is I have a right to choose to defend my wife in that situation. And if I feel like my wife has been offended or whatever, I can choose to defend her. Again, I'm willing to take the consequences of that defense. Right? He is the one acting. A joke is not violent. Words, I'm sorry, but words don't break bones.
No, yeah.
Right? Like, the song where, but the reality is that if he chooses to get out of his seat and go up there and slap him, maybe he was going to hit him and chose to slap instead. Nonetheless, he has to deal with the consequences of that. I would too. Now, I've seen people arguing this all over the internet. Like Shane was arguing one point and then somebody else was arguing another point. No one is saying that Will Smith is not a man because he chose to hit someone when he shouldn't have. And someone's like, oh, you guys are just, confused because you don't know what it's like to defend your wife. No. I believe if this is real, I believe he tried to defend his wife. I think he chose the wrong action, but he chose to defend his wife. How he defended his wife, that's fine, right?
But we still have laws.
But
we still have rules.
The standard has to change, has to be applied. And right now we're allowing, oh, look what he did for her. Look what he did for her. Don't condemn him. Condemn Chris Rock because he made a joke. We're all offended so fast now.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, this is a good example of where we're at. Everything is offensive. Like, no, it's not. Jokes are joke. Right. We talked about the Steve Carell thing for The Office, how he said it wouldn't survive in today's world. I agree. Could you imagine half the things that are said in The Office happening now? It had been canceled.
Oh, and half these people that are out there like, oh, he defended his wife and and Chris Rock deserves it. But you know what? Those same people will probably say something that offends somebody else. So can they slap them then? Is that okay then?
You can still have that belief and Will Smith be arrested
Absolutely.
and justice be applied.
The rules are the rules. Straight up.
If someone messes with my wife, like I told you guys this, we were at, Julia was embarrassed by it years and years ago. I don't even know if the kids were alive. We were at like a Food for Less or Winco or something, and some guy checked out Julia, and it like sent me into a rage.
Yeah.
And I was like yelling at the guy in the grocery store. It wasn't like that big a deal. Like I'm making it probably bigger than it was, but I turned around and went and I called it out, and the guy got all it just got heated between the two of us. Like it's a blind fury in that moment, and if we're gonna throw fisticuffs, let's do it, right? But I'm willing to deal with it because I am like you ain't doing that, and you're not doing it with me here.
Yeah,
like you don't ever check her out, but if you check her out with me here, like now you've done something to me. Let's go.
Yeah,
but I'm willing to deal with the consequences of that in that moment. Is that the right way to handle it? Probably not. I probably should have just gone on about my business, but that's the choice I made. I don't think that there's some moral obligation for me to choose the defender in that moment. I don't think there's any moral obligation for me not to. Like, I think it's wrong for people to go, you guys are just confused. This is what it looks like for a man to defend his wife. Bull crap.
Yeah.
There are plenty of ways a man can defend his wife. And honestly, Jada ain't weak.
No, absolutely not.
She's fine.
She takes a strong stance. Like you said 2 weeks before, I don't really care what anybody thinks.
Now, had he made a pun about her disease, I'd have slapped him too.
Yeah, but
he wasn't making a pun about her disease. He was making a pun about her appearance from a shaved head after she just said she doesn't care what people say about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's all silly and...
Well, and the reality is so let's take reality TV for a minute. Okay. Reality TV, there's so many people that watch reality TV, and you got two different types of people. You got people that look at it and they go, man, this is so crazy. This is so real. And then you got the people that look at it and go, this is a bit much. Like,
it's so staged,
scripted. There was some things that I found, and I was not shocked. Totally, like, yeah. So some of the later seasons of Real World cast members came out and said that they admitted scenes were staged and that a majority of the conflicts were fabricated. But yet, that's where the ratings came from. The ratings came from these conflicts. These ratings came from this drama that ensued, right? That often, like up and coming models and actors were cast on these shows because of their ability and their training to act, right? And so, I always say things like there was some reality TV show on Netflix recently, and we were checking it out a little bit, and I said,
"Is this like Love Is Blind?"
Love Is Blind, yes, yeah. Thank you. And I said to my wife, and I said, do you notice that like all these people are like pretty people, and like there's not any overweight people or anything like that. So there's like this one, you look at it and you go, oh man, I wish I could be like them. And then they just create all this drama and everything, and people are stuck to it. They're like, ooh yeah, like, oh man, I can't believe he did that, she did that. One crazy one that I saw was that Survivor uses stunt performers and body doubles for certain of their challenges that is said to would be exhausting for the average person.
So I actually was going to bring this up. I didn't realize you had it in the notes. Survivor is one of those ones where in the first couple of seasons, it was completely open. There was nothing. Everything what you saw is what you saw. But as it gained popularity, I think was it 42 seasons now or something like that? I was telling you that the other day.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Isn't Cody? Aren't you a fan of that? Was it you?
No, who was telling us about Survivor? Somebody was telling us about
DJ loves Survivor.
DJ, that's what it was. But now it's like it's just complete. I don't want to call it trash, but basically there's a lot of.
I've never actually watched it, but my understanding is so they're on this thing and they have to do certain challenges, right?
Right.
Yeah.
To stay on the show.
Right.
And to read that they bring in stunt doubles to basically do these challenges. So what's really all it is a bunch of people squabbing on a beach, and the challenges that they put in are all 100% fake. Right?
I don't know if 100% fake, but there's a fake element to them.
If and then they cause drama about the challenges that they weren't even in.
Right.
That's great. But I mean, this stuff, it's like WWE and WWF. I remember when I was young, there were so many of my friends that were like, swear up and down it was real. Like
the razor blades,
yeah,
right?
Like, it's just like, they're like, oh man, that's real. Did you see what he did? Did you see what the Ultimate Warrior just did? And these dudes, like, they got this mad beef on this show, and then some time goes by, and then you're like, wait, these guys are like best friends. They're like, all this mad beef, like they're gonna murder each other, and they get in this ring and they fight and they throw these punches. Man, it's fake as all get out.
Oh, and see, I didn't care
is
that
a
it was fake.
soap opera.
I did not care that it was fake.
But the
I
sad
love
part
it.
is there's people that think it's real.
Well, yeah. Well,
I mean, I know we're clowning Cody and he believed it was real, but it's fine. It's okay.
WWE?
Yeah.
No. I've never watched. I've never even
that's
seen an
more.
episode of it.
That's more us. That's more us. In the '90s, it was like
Yeah,
the
I'm
thing,
like,
right?
It was a thing.
I was a big Sting and NWO fan.
Well, I got friends that like will fly out to like Texas to see these things. They're like, oh, I'm going to SmackDown or something. And I'm like,
What a waste of money.
right?
What a terrible waste of money.
Well, okay, if you don't understand that it's fake and you're gonna go do it, it's no different than us draining 40 hours into a video game that we spent $60 on, right? Like they're playing into the story element. They love the drama of it all. You understand that it's fake, but you still like what's happening in the drama that's coming with it. Oh my God, I can't believe he would turn on him. So I understand it, but if you're going out there and you believe it to be real, you need help.
Well, and that's just it. So they've mixed drama with physical violence, and that the WWE and WWF and all these different things have been around a long time,
yeah,
right? And they continue to maintain viewership. So is it really impossible to believe that this scenario was fabricated? Again, ratings going from 10 million the year before to jumping up over 20 million after the slap. Like, is it really that hard to believe that this could have been fabricated?
Do you guys know if Will's ever won an Oscar? Or was this his first?
Well, I don't know.
I'm sure he's won another.
Can you
look it up? Because I'm going to start chaos. I'm going to dress for chaos.
I know he was upset about one concussion. There was something to do. I was reading
that's
something.
the one where he's the doctor and they do the CTE.
Football injuries and all that.
Oh, did he get one for Ali?
I don't know. I know he was nominated. I don't know if he won.
Let's see. Grammys, awards, Soul Train.
It'd be Academy Awards.
He's been nominated for Ali, Pursuit of Happiness, but he only won Best Actor for
the one he just did.
Yeah, King Richard.
Yeah. So maybe he's feeling like this is his chance. I want people to watch it.
He won a Golden Globe for the same one too.
I haven't actually watched the movie.
I haven't either. So
it's on HBO Max.
Out of all the ones he's been nominated, he finally he wins this one.
Maybe he feels like he has a good chance of winning this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
people he wanted to put a show on.
Well, and again, if it's staged, doesn't the Academy know who's going to win? Do they know? They know, right?
They know who's going to win.
Yeah. So if they know ahead of time, hey, you're going to win, and
well, he may not know that, but
or he does. I don't know.
Unless he's a part of it all.
Yeah. So it's staged. We get it, and then he wins, and it's like that's another thing. It's like he does this thing that anybody else would go to jail for, literally anybody else, and then he gets to go up and win this prestigious award, and everybody's like clapping for him, standing ovation. I'm like, the man just assaulted a man on stage. Are you guys serious right now? Like, is it cool? Like, maybe we should just walk up in that audience and start slapping people and see what happened.
He may still lose it, but I doubt he will.
What?
The award.
So they're saying he might lose it.
Yeah. So as part of this, they were going to go into an internal review punishment phase, right? Where to figure out what they're going to do. He formally puts in his resignation to resign, but they are still going to go forward with the punishment.
He won the top award. What does he care anymore? See what I'm saying? How well it plays out? Like, you don't care anymore. You won the best award there is.
They can still pull it back, I guess. Whatever that means. He won it.
I don't know. I don't bet
taking the award from
I don't bet money, but I got $20 says they don't pull it back.
I wouldn't. Listen, they had more views than they've had in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Combined.
I can't wait to see what the ratings are next year, because I just have a feeling.
I would assume you see a spike just because of what happened, that people are now interested. The Oscars again. Yeah. Something might happen again.
It was great marketing. That's what I'm saying. So
would you be surprised if something crazy happens next year?
No.
Right? Like, I don't even watch half the awards ceremonies, but I remember when Kanye got up and grabbed the mic from Taylor Swift.
That's what I'm saying.
I remember when he got up again and made a joke of it like 2 years ago or last year.
Yeah.
Right? So those are the things that make you want to watch.
This is the biggest thing that has happened to the Oscars. And again, how many people don't or have never watched the Oscars are now like, they're seeing the memes. You see it, social media is lit up. Twitter's lit up. Facebook. It's all over the place. So all these people now are keyed in on the Oscars. They're like aware. Like, there's an awareness that has been woken up. So they have reinvigorated their viewership. people are checking it out. I mean, by the millions and millions and millions.
It's not that Will Smith even needed attention. He doesn't need anybody looking at him.
No.
But I mean, I'm not saying Chris Rock is irrelevant, but he hasn't done a lot recently. This is also something I can see him being a part of and being like, sure, yeah, I got a couple of shows that I need to, he's going to be here in Las Vegas here in a couple of weeks, right? Like,
Yeah.
So, maybe he's like, oh yeah, I'll take one for the team. Have you guys seen the meme where it's got the picture of all the people and they've got the faces crossed out of the people? Oh, you sent that of the faces of the people he slapped.
Yeah,
right?
in grown up. It's in grown up.
It's grown ups,
Those are the
right?
grown-ups, yeah.
And so they cross off Kevin James' face because he slaps him in Hitch, and then they cross off Chris Rock, and he's got like a hit list.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm Will, I play to that. I start making jokes and I start doing things and setting up scenarios to where I can finish that list off.
And I saw something this morning. I meant to write it down, but there's something that he was doing with Netflix, either a new movie or show.
I saw that,
and they are now talking of potential, like they
pulling away,
pulling it away,
which is weird because the world is reacting in a way that's like, oh my God, he did exactly what he needed to do. The world's, we need to allow this. This is the type of stuff we need. Defense of women, But at the same time, you're seeing these corporations pull away. So I'm not really sure, like, what the world thought ideology is on this. It seems pretty split. Like some people are like, oh, this is acceptable. He didn't get arrested. That's really what should have happened. He was defending his wife.
There's a lot of outlash. I know you see a lot of people that are for him and what he's done, but there's a lot out there.
You mean backlash?
Backlash. Excuse me. Yeah. My dialect's off today. There's a lot of backlash out there of individuals that are like, he should be arrested. Like they make a valid point. I mean, and there's a lot of people that are angry, and not that there's not a little bit of validity in protecting your wife. I get that. You should stand up for the honor of your wife, but the reality is there has to be consequences. Otherwise, then that means that there's gray area in the law, and if there's gray area in the law, what's going to stop anybody else from trying to play the gray area? And then at that point, are you a hypocrite if you bust one guy for doing the exact same thing, but because he's not a multi-million-dollar A-list actor, you bust this guy? What does that say to everybody else then?
I'm going to tell one more story that kind of ties into this. And it's basically the same story I talked about, like murdering someone that messed with my kids. In like 2008 or 2009, this is in India, a father and his daughter. So it's a husband and wife and their daughter. Their daughter ends up getting taken and raped by someone within their village, their town. And the dad was told that he just needed to deal with it. That was part of their culture. And that they got the daughter back and everything like that. The dad was said okay, and he invited the man over to his house with the conditions of, oh, maybe we'll marry you off so that it's not seen as something negative and we can do this. Invites him over, sends his wife and his daughter away, straps the guy to the chair, and then lights his private areas on fire.
Nice.
Before killing him, and then sits down in a chair, calls the police, and turns himself in.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Julia going, I mean, it's grotesque, but I looked at Julia and I went, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Like, bravo. Like, honestly.
So what happened to him?
I'm sure he got arrested.
But I mean, we don't.
I don't know. I didn't look at the rest of the story, but the reality is, it's like, that is.
Well, because there was that other guy that he was in the Midwest or something, and he walks in on a man sexually assaulting his young son, I believe, and beats the dude to death. He gets arrested for murder and goes on trial, and the jury found him innocent as a crime of passion. That's fine. You let the due process be the due process. Let it happen. But no matter what, there are still black and white rules, and the rules have to apply.
That's a bit different because there's self-defense involved in that. He's defending his child, but in this particular case, it was a joke. I grin. The whole point of this is,
no, I get
if
it.
Will chooses to do what he did, he has every right as a human being and as a husband to do what 100%. He wanted to do. There has to be consequence for it.
Yeah.
Either for the person that has initiated it or the person that has done the action. Chris didn't do anything harmful other than say words.
Right.
Will's the one that struck. Will should have been arrested. If Chris chooses not to press charges, so be it. If he chooses not to sue, so be it.
That's all I'm saying is that due justice has to take place, because otherwise, again, what are you saying to everybody else out there? I mean, Cody, if somebody after all of this happens and somebody says something about your lovely wife,
I wouldn't commit assault if that's
yes, like
Well, it depends.
you may say something.
If something
right?
was, I mean,
Of course.
if it's a verbal thing,
yeah.
it's like
because that's all this was.
I'm getting puffed up. That's
and
basically
again,
what's
it
happening.
wasn't about the disease. It wasn't about anything. It was just about her shaved head and in comparison to G.I. Jane. That was it. And by the way, G.I. Jane was a bad butt. I don't know if you guys seen that movie. It's a great movie.
It's
Demi Moore
okay. It's all right.
I enjoyed it. He was tough.
So was his reaction kind of a telltale on one of two things? Is it staged because of how like ridiculous over the top it was?
Yeah.
Or is it more of an indication of kind of where his mind is? Because he's got to be messed up if all that stuff is true
Yeah,
with
there's
him.
all
and
this
Jada.
kind of emotional stuff going on.
Right. So is he just a mentally messed up dude right now that doesn't know how his relationship really works? And so he's just trying to navigate it in the best way possible. And this is how he reacted. Because he balls his eyes out when he takes the award. He's also an actor.
Yeah.
Whatever. He when he resigns, he says this, he's horrified. So like he's falling on his sword essentially, but he's also like 100 millionaire and doesn't care about any of this stuff and can live the rest of his life never being in another movie and be fine,
Right.
be content, right?
Sure.
So is this an indication of a guy that's just broken inside, or is it an indication of a guy that's trying to get the focus off of that type of stuff and onto things like his award, his career? You know, there's no there's no such thing as bad publicity,
Yeah.
right?
All publicity is good publicity.
All of it,
Yeah. It's real.
good or bad,
It's real. Because it puts the limelight on you no matter what.
right? And then the reality, because there's no charges pressed and nothing bad happens to him other than maybe possibly losing his award, which I don't think happens.
And that's what I'm
It's
saying.
a story that we talk about forever, and there will be it won't be seen in a bad light. It won't.
No.
It won't. Not for him.
And there's a lot of people standing behind him. Like, oh, he did the honorable thing. He protected his woman. So there's backlash. There's always going to be backlash in anything any human being does. You're always going to have the other side of the ball, right? And so I don't know. Looking at everything, and if I were, if I'm going to take a step out, take all emotion out of it for a minute and just look at it, I think the probability that it was staged, especially with everything that TV does and all the propaganda and everything, I think it is very feasible, 100%, that this was a staged event to reinvigorate a very old, award ceremony that is supposedly the top echelon of award ceremonies. Because if they lose their viewership, it'll die.
They're worthless.
It's nothing.
They're worthless if no one's watching it.
Yeah.
If no one watches the NFL, it's just another football league like AFL, XFL,
Right.
all those other ones.
Yeah.
They need viewers.
Have to have viewers. And I think that, especially after last year, 10.4, they probably were losing some money. That's just coming into this year with the low ratings of last year. That means that anybody that had a commercial this year is going to pay a whole lot less than they did 10 years ago. Right. So they're hurting. They needed to do something. And I know putting on a production like that, I can only imagine what it costs. So
Yeah.
the overhead, you got to get that money back and then some. And 10 million is not a lot. Not in a 300 million United States and 7 billion world. 10 million is nothing. It really is nothing. So
I've seen TV shows get canceled for that.
Exactly. For having more than that.
For having more than that in
Yeah.
like their third season, and they get canceled because it's not enough.
Right. And so they're like, hey, we can't get canceled. What are we going to do? Well, tell Will Smith to go up and slap Chris Rock. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, again, you can't, Will Smith being a comedian himself and everybody knowing comedians, like, it's expected.
Go watch the clip. I'm telling you, it looks like he's laughing or smiling when he does it.
I'm curious what you guys, are you guys on the same page? Like, was it an emotional outbreak? Or, again, I'm going to stand on the belief that it's staged.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
I think as a man defending his wife, regardless of what's said, right? Like,
yeah.
If she was offended, if she was truly offended, and he's frustrated by that, I think that he feels, probably with whoever the relationship, that he needs to show her that he's defending her. I've seen things like tick my wife off that don't necessarily tick me off, but they tick my wife off, and it makes me frustrated because I don't want her to feel that way. So I understand the emotion behind that.
Well, the missing variables too. Were they drinking? There's always those other little caveats.
I didn't think they did.
Were they getting?
I didn't think he did any of that, drinking
I don't know.
or
Yeah.
drugs or any of that. I thought that was one of the. Anyways, but the point is like, so I understand the emotion behind it, but I mean, I guess if you look at something hard enough, you can always find a crack at anything. And I'm telling you, if you go back and watch the video, there's a lot of stuff in there. You're like, why does he lean in?
Yeah.
Why does he close his eyes before he even pulls his hand out? Why does It looked like Will's laughing when he does it. They're just weird, right? But, and then why was the video posted beforehand? Like, of all days to post a video, he hadn't posted in days. Of all days, you post that, and that you're going to go and cause chaos. And they're in the gowns and the outfits that they're wearing at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like, they are dressed up in their Oscar attire, like, or their Academy's attire. They're like, that's what they're doing. So I'm like,
gonna go, and then he replies too, not too much longer after he posts that, after saying, going to choose chaos. Then he even says, man, ain't nobody can invite anybody from Philly or Baltimore anymore. Like, he's adding more to it before they go to do what? You're going to the Oscars. Like, bro, what exactly kind of chaos are you thinking about? Now, again, some people say, well, he's just probably talking about, because they're going to go light up the stage, the walk, and they're a hot couple, and that's what he meant. And sure, maybe that's the case. I don't know. But, at the end of the day, ratings were plummeting. And I look forward to, and even though we won't do a whole nother episode on it, but when this time rolls around again next year and we see the ratings,
I want to see the numbers.
Yeah, I want to see what it does.
Yeah.
And we should remember to just touch on it, and, because if it jumps back up to 35-40, then it did its job, and again, nothing legally is happening to Will.
I don't know, but I mean, did you see Chris Rock's face like the next day, like what it looked like?
No.
Yeah, he had fresh prints on his face.
Stupid. I should have. That was an opening. Dang it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know these jokes. I've been saying them all
they're
week.
Coming. Yeah,
right.
They're
But
coming. They're coming. So again, I guess I have my stands. Andy's torn. What do you think, Cody?
No, I think it was real. And I would argue that the reasoning for him getting upset, we like to look at the G.I. Jane joke, but I'm going to make the argument that that after he says that, if you pay attention to Chris Rock, he says, oh, that was a nice one. Come on, that was a nice one.
Yeah.
And then only then after that do we see Will Smith get up and start making his way to him. So when he says that, oh, that was a nice one, implying that he could have done far worse with what's been revealed through, Jadapinkett and their relationship. He's like, oh, come on, that was a nice one.
Yeah,
at
like
least
he could have taken a jab.
Yeah,
at
he's
the
like
cheating
he's actually saying that to Jada,
right? Well,
because of her reaction.
Yeah, no. So because she's the only one, she's the one with the upset reaction at that time. So she's like, hey, come on, that was a nice one, And so, but then that is probably more insulting than the original joke if you think about it. If you're being in Will's position, that's more insulting to you and your wife and your whole family
like
and
I could have
everything.
gone deep on YouTube.
Yeah, he's like, hey, listen, hey, you're getting a little too, you're smiling, you're laughing a little too much about that.
Even
okay?
post slap, he says it was just a G.I. Jane joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's saying it's a. I'm like,
but I get Cody's point of view.
Yeah,
because he's basically saying, listen.
Yeah,
you guys have put your dirt out on the street.
That's a bit of interpretation, though. That's like deep interpretation. Like,
I think personally, I think it holds more weight than a G.I. Jane joke. I think
maybe, but maybe not for him.
I think that. Well, no, I think for both of them, because I mean, he's probably had a lot that emotional interview when like they talk about their open relationship that hurt him deep, really hard. So I mean, I feel like that has like real emotional connection that he could have pulled from that made him commit assault and battery. Walk up and just smack Chris Rock across the face.
Well, especially they have this, like I said, they posted the TikTok and everything showing them dressed up, excited. He's trying to edify his wife and all of this, and we're gonna go rock. And then Chris Rock takes a jab about G.I. Jane, and then he says, "Hey, that was a nice one.
Hey, come on, that was a nice one."
Yeah, I get it.
And he's like, "Uh-oh," and then he goes, "That did it right there."
Yeah, like, hey, we came into this night, we're feeling good as a married couple, and you're trying to take jab at us, and they have this emotional roller coaster that's going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
the part that I'm torn on, and this is where I didn't really finish, was the part that makes it believable is what my dad said, is the way that it finishes. He does say, hey man, it's just a G.I. Jane joke. Are you for real? And then there's this awkward pause stage where he doesn't know how to move on.
Yeah.
That is, if it is acting, it is fantastic acting. It's beyond Chris Rock, because he literally is in a moment where he doesn't know how to react or how to proceed. He tries to laugh it off by saying, Will Smith just slapped the F out of me or whatever, or the S out of me. But that like 20 seconds after that, he's just kind of like stumbling. So that to me is the most genuine part of the whole thing.
And also their banter. Their banter does seem fairly genuine.
Oh, the yelling, you mean?
Well, because Will Smith yells something and Chris Rock's like, well, what was that? What was that? What was that? Like, you know, if it was staged, you would have just been like, ooh, or something. You know what I mean? Like he banters with him a little bit more in regard. And then, you know, as Will Smith says, you know, leave my wife out of
now you know that interview was like 2 years ago. Like
Yeah.
it's 2020. So it's not like it's on Chris Rock's mind that it didn't just happen. It wasn't like it was just in the media. It happened the conversation about it happened 2 years ago.
You're talking about her cheating?
Yes.
But see, that's what's funny because it is still a hot topic because I didn't even know anything about it. And there's recent articles that are still, you know, popping up.
I don't know if I call it a hot topic. If something is a hot topic is what's happening now, like what I'm saying is
world celebrities.
I think that Will Smith and Jadapinkett can take more into the comment that Chris Rock said than actually Chris Rock saying it. Like when he said that was it's just a G.I. Jane joke. I think it's just surface level. Like honestly, like it's not even that bad a joke. I've said worse jokes.
That's what I'm saying. It just wasn't
Right?
that bad.
But I
Like,
think
there's
that
more
they
to
can
it. There's got to be something deeper to it. Like if this is real, they have turmoil between them. There's got to be like some stuff they're working through, and I get it. So there's this emotional roller coaster that them as a married couple, because as married couples we have emotional roller coasters that we have to deal with, right? And so which explains why Will laughed at it first, and then you see her face, and he's just like, "Man, we already have enough issues. Let me go defend her," right? And then it's just this outcry. But I can see what I can. You know, maybe it's very improbable, but I can kind of see what Cody's saying though too.
Yeah.
You know, where maybe Chris didn't mean it like that, but it could have been taken like that.
Yeah.
Like
after he got slapped, he goes, he's kind of just standing there going, and then he looks at me, he goes, "Oh, I could, okay." You hear him say that? Like he wanted to say what he wanted to say originally. He was like, "Oh, I could, okay."
like, well, you already slapped me. I might as well go deep.
Exactly. Yeah. But then he chooses not to. He just chooses to move on. You know,
Jada gave him that look like she was going to make him disappear like Tupac.
Yeah.
Well, while also revealing that Tupac's waiting for her.
Yeah.
You know, in Brazil or Cuba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, you know, real or fake, a lot of emotions. Not only are we curious to know what you guys think out there about, is this real? What's your thoughts? But also, you know, what's your stance? You know, he defended his wife, so it's okay what he did. Or, hey, he defended his wife, like Andy said, but there's still got to be consequences. There still has to be, you know, the due process of everything, right? You still have to follow the rules and the laws. And then whatever happens later, cool, it happens later. If Chris Rock drops charges, fine. But again, an assault and battery happened on a live stage in front of millions of people. And anybody else, that's an arrest. Or at least
he did
detained.
he did have one consequence.
Oh, what? Here we go. What is it?
He moved to Bel Air. Because he got in one little fight and his mom got scared.
Stupid. Oh, where do we
Slap my knee.
Where do we get this guy
Slap
from?
my
Where do we
knee.
get this guy from? Anyways, fans, hey, check it out. Let us know what you think of all those things. For all of our male listeners, let us know. If you're married, let us know, what would you do? And even if you did do that, what do you believe that you shouldn't have consequences for the action? I guess that's the two-parter. Let us know. We love you guys as always. We appreciate you, and we look forward to your comments on this one. So we are out. Check you later.
Peace out.
Yep.